Just some thoughts of a man thawing out in his car. His car. I say that because I was almost a little giddy today when I got up, because today I get to take my car. So you know how it works in families and things where everybody kind of has their car. Sometimes it's by default, sometimes it's by the age of the car or what is required. You know, you got to haul some stuff, you need a truck, or in our case, a minivan, right? Well, this is technically my car, but it is deathly cold here right now. And the car that my daughter takes to school, not as dependable and struggles on very cold mornings. We haven't been able to figure out what the issue is. So I take that car, she takes this car. Well, on this particular day, she doesn't have school, so I get to take my car. And I already know this, but I feel like I want to say it because you're probably in a similar boat. I am a creature of habit. I like what I like, and as I get older, I really like what I like. Now, I want to remain teachable, and I don't want to become an old curmudgeon or anything like that, but I have a rhythm. I have a thing that I do. If the seats moved, she set the temperature way higher than I ever set the temperature. The volume, don't get me started, but I am very particular. For example, as I was getting ready to leave, I couldn't find this cup. Now, there's one in the kitchen very similar to it, but not like this cup. I mean, it looks exactly the same, everything, but it's not this cup. And I stood there and I looked around, I thought, somebody accidentally took my cup, and now I'm gonna have to take that cup. Well, fortunately, I outlocated this cup. I had placed it behind the coffee maker because I thought, well, that would be a good place to get it out of the way. And I felt a sense of relief. Forgive me, I lost my voice there. I felt a sense of relief as I walked outside with my cup, getting in my car. I'm a little particular. And, but this is what dads do. They should sacrifice for their kids. They should get, not that letting my kid take my car is a great sacrifice, but let me unpack this thought. When your kids are like birth to, let's say, early elementary, this is very gray space here. I think you're in a mode where you are protective. Okay, you're protecting them. You're much more aware of who you're dropping them off with, you want their kindergarten teacher to have a certain persona or a certain attitude, or, you know, if you go into an environment and it doesn't look like it's built for, you know, a 4-year-old, you're like, we're not staying here, right? So I think there's a window where you're very protective. And then I think somewhere early elementary to, I don't know, let's say junior high age, somewhere in there, there's a lot of teaching going on from maybe teachers, coaches, definitely yourself. A lot of teaching, right? Don't touch the stove. Maybe you're teaching them how to make their bed. You're teaching them to pick up their junk around the house. I don't know when they learn that. Teaching them to put their dishes in the dishwasher, and you're teaching them to take out the garbage, right? Mow the grass, whatever. There's a teaching that's going on there. And then I think there's somewhere in junior high to high school to early college, just my theory here, where you focus on equipping life skills. Not that those other things aren't life skills, but maybe they're getting their first job. Maybe they're learning to drive. Maybe they're taking on more responsibility. Maybe they're, you know, babysitting, or again, mowing grass or shoveling driveways. They're making some money. They're learning life skills so that someday they will leave your house. I don't know when, but they will. And you're teaching them how to be a young man or a young woman, and you're talking about these things because someday they're going to have a spouse, more than likely. They might raise children as well, and we're having conversations like, when my daughter from college comes home and she's exhausted, I said, now do you see why when we come home we don't want to get right back up and go back out? I know we're being the parents and cranky, but nevertheless, we're talking about equipping. You know, maybe equipping is how to get gas, how to pay a bill. Maybe it's to go vote. You know, it just depends. But you're putting tools in their toolbox. Then there's a point, college age, married, I don't know where that window is, where that relationship once again changes. and you're running more side by side. You're not in their business as much, but you're there. You should always be there. Seasons change, relationships change, a lot of things change in life. But that role, like my role as a father, whether my kids live in my house, next door, or 4,000 miles away, I still should be that outlet for them, right? But I can't go back to the protective stage, unless there's a bad guy or something. I can't go back. That's over. I don't necessarily go to the teaching stage because they've learned life skills, hopefully, at this point. I can still do some equipping depending on what's going on. Like, yes, I understand. Here's something you need to look at, or something, I think you're in a season there where you're giving more advice or counsel, but you got to get out of the way. If you treat them like they're 5 when they're 25, you got a problem. I'll go back to what I originally said. I'm a creature of habit. I like my car, I like the seat, I like the temperature, I like my cup, I like everything to be where it needs to be. But I got to get out of the way when it comes to them. I serve them to a degree. Now, my relationship, first and foremost, is to my bride. That's the first covenant. We've invited them into our family, but now that they're invited into my family, God has blessed us with them, then I do for them. And I don't know exactly when that doing stops, but I know it looks different in every season. And if I can confess to you, just between you and I, to me right now, this is a bit of an exhausting doing season and an expensive one. But you know what? I'm so thankful I get to do it. I really am. As much as I grumble and complain, and I think that might be the next video, me grumbling and complaining, because I have a thought about that as well. My wife had to call me out on it. As much as I grumble, complain, and whatever, I don't want to miss it. Because I'll look back on it like I look back on those other seasons and see that they were rich. They were hard at times, but they were rich. And God allowed us to have that experience. And I don't want to miss that experience because I didn't get my cup, or I didn't get my car, or I had to put gas in your car, and and I had to get your thing looked at. I had to pay that bill, and I had to. Yeah, we're going to lose forks. We're going to lose Tupperware. We're going to lose stuff. They're going to throw it away. They're going to leave it at a friend's house. They're going to not appreciate every single thing I do for them. That's part of the relationship. You can still be a creature of habit. You can still be very particular and methodical, and sometimes I'm even stuck in my ways, if I admit it. But it can't be about me. It can't be about me. Lord willing, I will have plenty of time in this life where my seat will never move, where my cup will never move, where all my forks will be in the drawer, where all the bills will just have my name on it. There'll be plenty of time in life for that. Someday that might come, someday that might not come. The Lord may call me home much sooner. Either way, I need to have a grateful heart. And I need to be reminded, brother, this ain't about you. Amen. Well, I'll close by having a sip of coffee out of my favorite mug, sitting in my chair in the right spot, the temperature just perfect. Hey, just a thought. I'll talk to you in a bit.